You can absolutely sell your home without a realtor. No law says you have to hire one. There's no rule, there's no requirement. And honestly, if you're willing to put in the work, the real work, it can be done. But here's what most of those for sale by owner videos don't tell you. Selling a home isn't one job, it's 15. And today I'm going to walk you through every single one of them. And if you live in Central Maine and want me to hand deliver my pre-listing checklist to make sure your home sells at the highest return possible, text FSBO 207-649-6893, and I'll give you a call and arrange to drop off the resource to you in person. No obligation, because I believe you deserve to know exactly what goes into this, whether you hire someone or not. I'm Jeff Jolicoeur with the Surrett Real Estate team here in Central Maine. I used to be a fourth grade teacher, and when I got into real estate, I couldn't stand watching people get lost in the process. No one ever bothered to explain to them. So that's what we're doing today. No fluff, no pressure, just the full picture. Let's get into it. Every seller I've sat across from, whether they called me first or tried it on their own first, asked some version of the same question. Why should I pay commission when I can just sell it myself? And I'll be honest with you, that's a fair question. It deserves a real answer. So instead of me just telling you agents are worth it, I'm going to show you the actual list, every task, every decision, every role that gets handled during a home sale. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what you're signing up for if you go at it alone, and exactly what a great agent takes off your plate. Fair enough? Let's go. Pricing is the single most important decision in the entire process, and pricing based on the wrong information is the biggest mistake sellers make. See my video, the #1 mistake Central Maine home sellers make. Price too high, your home sits on the market. Days on the market accumulate, buyers start to wonder what's wrong with it. You end up chasing the market down, and almost always net less than if you had priced it right from the start. Price it too low, and you leave money on the table. Sometimes thousands, sometimes tens of thousands. I have seen many for sale by owner sales where the sellers would have made more money using a realtor even after paying brokerage fees. So without an agent, you have to build your own comparative market analysis. That means pulling recent sales, not Zillow estimates, actual closed transactions, adjusting for square footage, condition, location, updates, and current buyer demand in your specific area. In Central Maine, I'm tracking 2.5 to 3.7 months of inventory right now. That affects pricing strategy significantly. And if you're anchored to what you heard homes were selling for in 2021 or 2022, multiple offers, prices over ask, that market no longer exists. Before you even list, you have to make a decision. What do you spend money on and what do you leave as is? Every seller thinks about this, and a lot of them get it wrong. Not because they're not smart, but because they're thinking like a homeowner, not like a potential buyer. I've seen sellers spend $10,000 on a kitchen remodel and get $2,000 back. I've also seen a fresh coat of paint and updated light fixtures add $15,000 in perceived value. The question isn't, what do I like? It's what does today's buyer in this price range expect? So, declutter, depersonalize, deep clean. These aren't optional. They directly affect how quickly you sell and for how much. And for a more thorough breakdown, check out my video, Stop, Don't Put a Sign Out Yet. Buyers make emotional decisions. They're not just buying square footage, they're buying a vision of their life in that home. Your job is to make it easy for them to see that. That means minimizing family photos, clearing the counters, addressing the smell. Yes, you get used to it. They won't. And making every room feel as spacious and neutral as possible. If you're doing this solo, you need to approach your own home like a stranger walking through it for the first time. That is genuinely hard to do. Your listing photos are your first showing. 90% of buyers start their search online. If your photos look dark or of poor quality, you've already lost them. For higher-end homes or properties with acreage and waterfront, which we have a lot of here in the Belgrade Lakes region, drone footage isn't optional anymore. It's expected. Now this one gets underestimated constantly. The listing description is your written pitch to every buyer who sees your home online. It needs to highlight the right features, not just what you love about the house, but what buyers in your price range are specifically searching for and expecting. Open floor plans, acreage, proximity to amenities, energy efficiency, whatever the market wants. It also needs to be accurate. Misleading descriptions create problems at the inspection, at the appraisal, and sometimes after closing. There's legal exposure here that most sellers don't think about. This is where the FSBO model has its biggest structural problem. When you list without an agent, you don't have access to the multiple listing service, a database that feeds every major real estate website. It's where buyer agents are actively searching for properties for the clients. Without it, your home is invisible to a huge segment of the market. You can list on Zillow, you can put a sign in the yard, you can post on Facebook, and you'll get some activity. But some activity and maximum exposure are not the same thing. Your phone becomes a full-time job. Is this still available? What's the square footage? Is it for rent? Would you own a finance? Do you allow pets? Can we see it tomorrow at 7 a.m.? My cousin says the price is too high. Some of these are serious buyers, some are curious neighbors, and some are wholesale investors hoping to catch you on a bad day. Sorting real interest from noise and responding fast enough that you don't lose the serious buyers takes time, systems, and experience. When you're also working a full-time job, managing a family, and trying to actually live your life, this gets exhausting quickly. Every showing is a coordination event. You need to confirm the appointment, prepare the house, arrange to be out. Buyers don't like having sellers present. It makes them uncomfortable. And manage access securely. And here's something most sellers don't consider. You're letting strangers into your home. A lockbox with a code that you've handed out to people you don't know is a risk. Agent manages showing access with professional systems. They keep track of who entered and when. Multiply this across 15 or 20 showings over several weeks, and it becomes a significant logistical burden. An open house isn't just opening the door and letting people wander around. Done well, it's a presentation. You're answering questions, some straightforward, some designed to lower your price. You're reading a buyer's body language. You're identifying who's genuinely interested and who's just killing a Sunday afternoon. You're also doing all of this in your own home about a transaction with enormous financial and emotional stakes, while trying to stay calm and professional when a stranger critiques your kitchen. That emotional separation, the ability to advocate for the property without taking any of it personally, is genuinely hard without the experience. And buyers who sense that you're emotionally involved will use it against you. Not every offer is a real offer, and not every pre-approval letter means what the seller thinks it means. There's a significant difference between a buyer who is fully underwritten and credit verified and one who got a letter from a lender after a 5-minute phone call. That difference can mean a deal falls apart in 3 weeks before closing, after you've already taken the house off the market. One of the most important things I do early in any transaction is evaluate the strength of the buyer's financing, the lender, the loan type, the down payment, the timeline. A weak buyer in a low inventory market isn't just a missed sale. It's weeks of lost time you can't get back. When the offer comes in, the number at the top is not the only number that matters. What's the financing? What's the closing timeline? And does it work with your purchase timeline if you're also buying? For my clients who are doing both, selling and buying, simultaneously, every term in an offer has a downstream effect on the other transaction. A closing date that's 2 weeks off can ripple into your new home purchase and cost you your rate lock, your inspection window, or the deal itself. The highest offer is not always the best offer. Understanding which actually gets you to closing and gets you there on time requires experience with how these contracts actually perform. This is where the most money is made or lost, and where most for sale by owner sellers are at the biggest disadvantage. Negotiation in real estate isn't just about price. After inspection, you'll likely receive a list of repair requests or credit demands. How you respond to that list determines whether the deal survives and what you net at the end. Experienced buyer agents are skilled negotiators. They do this every day. If you're negotiating against them directly, without representation, while emotionally attached to the property and the proceeds, they have a structural advantage. Maine has specific disclosure requirements. You have to accurately represent the condition of the property, the roof, the mechanicals, the water source, any known defects or past issues. Get this wrong, whether from omission or inaccuracy, and you can face legal exposure after closing. Buyers can come back. Attorneys get involved. It gets expensive. Beyond disclosures, the purchase and sale agreement itself is a detailed legal document. Contingencies, addenda, deadlines, counteroffers, every line has meaning. The forms provided by the Maine Association of Realtors are designed to protect both parties, but only if you actually understand what you're signing. One of the things I take real pride in is knowing these forms inside and out, not playing attorney, but making sure my clients understand exactly what every section means before they put pen to paper. The inspection report is coming. Plan on it, and it will say things that sound alarming because that's what inspection reports do. Then there's the appraisal. If you're in a market where values have shifted and Central Maine has seen real movement, and the appraisal comes in below the purchase price, you now have a problem. How you handle it determines whether the deal survives. I've been through this hundreds of times. I know which battles to fight, which ones to concede, and how to keep both parties moving toward a closing when something unexpected comes up, because something always does. Once you're under contract, you're not done. You're entering the most logistically complex phase of the sale. Title work has to clear. The lender has conditions that need to be satisfied. There are deadlines you have to hit. The closing attorney needs documents. You need to coordinate your move-out date with the buyer's possession date. And if you're doing what a lot of my clients are doing, selling and buying at the same time, this phase requires precision timing across two simultaneous transactions. A delay in one affects the other. A missed deadline can cost you a rate lock on the new home. A title issue on the sale can push back your closing by weeks. This is the part of the process where I act as a full project manager. I know what's happening in every lane. I'm tracking every deadline, and I'm making calls before problems become crisis. So, 15 jobs: pricing, prep, photography, marketing, showing, screening, negotiating, disclosures, inspections, appraisals, paperwork, coordination, and everything in between. Selling without a realtor is possible, but possible and wise aren't the same thing. If you don't hire an agent, you become the agent. And here's what I really want you to take away from this. This isn't about whether you're capable. You might be. Some sellers genuinely can navigate this on their own. But the real question isn't, can I do this? It's, what does it cost me if I get it wrong? A great agent doesn't just help you sell the home. They help you avoid the mistakes that would have cost you far more than the commission. Now, do I think every seller in every circumstance needs an agent? I'm going to be honest. No, not always. But for most homeowners, especially those of you who are doing something complex like selling one home and buying another at the same time, the expertise, the market knowledge, the negotiation experience, and the transaction management are worth significantly more than they cost. If you're someone in that process right now, whether you're just starting to think about it or you've already tried for sale by owner and hit some walls, I'd love to have a real conversation with you. Not a sales call, just a conversation where I can help you understand what you're actually looking at in today's market. There's a link in the description to book a free strategy session. No obligation, no pressure. If we talk and it doesn't make sense to work together, I'll tell you that, because that's the kind of agent I try to be. I'm Jeff Jolicoeur from Surrett Real Estate, right here in Central Maine. If this was helpful, subscribe, share it with someone who's thinking about selling, and I'll see you in the next one.